All right, welcome to Initiation Episode 4 of the Hunt a Killer Boxer series. Here we go, I'm pretty excited about this one. Alright, Episode 4, looks like we have 9 items. They're not labeled, so I guess we'll just make sure we have everything. So again, we have our normal 2 manila envelopes, one from Megan and one from Felix and whatever else that he wants. So we'll start off with Felix here. That's what I like to do here. Looks like there are 2 letters in here. Alright, so Felix's letter looks like Sheriff's letter. So, Felix, listening friend, the sheriff will be gone by the time you read this. It's his prerogative, of course. He can ride off into whichever sunset he so chooses. Too bad he never saw past the plywood facade lining the dusty dirt road. But, though his comprehension of our arrangement was limited to what I allowed him to know, he was my agent on the ground in Bosman. It is down to you now. Pay close attention. The devil is always in the details, as they say. Takeo Humani, I think it means silent human or quiet person. Felix. Alright, that's kind of weird. Let's see what this guy has to say. Dear Felix, maybe my last letter didn't make the situation out here clear to you. I can only assume that if it had, you would have gotten back to me by now. But since I haven't heard from you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and this time I'll say it in no uncertain terms. We have a problem. In case you don't recall, I've got a dead body decomposing out in the woods, in worse shape than just about anything I've ever seen, and I've been sitting on this information for weeks now because when we first spoke, you impressed upon me the importance of discretion. Well, I am all for treading lightly where it counts, but prudence isn't the same as looking the other way. That's kind of interesting they use the word prudence because Jasper used the word prudence when talking about prudence and patience before. It doesn't sit right with me, this hanging back and ignoring the problem, not least of all because it's only a matter of time before someone else finds that body, and by then all your discretion won't do either us a lick of good. I might as well go ahead and warn you, I am not going to sit back and wait for you any longer. I've thought about this long and hard, and I see what I have to do now. That schedule I sent you was what clinched it for me. I should have realized it right away, but it seems clear as day now. Last time I was out at the facility, Dr. Cortez told me that Meg Gibson had just stepped out for her break, but the calendar said that she was supposed to be off that day. And another thing, if the groundskeeper got back from vacation more than a week earlier, why did all the hedges still look so ragged and unkempt? Part of me wouldn't be surprised if that was his body I stumbled out across in the woods. Duh. Either way, it just doesn't add up, and I'm certain now that your Dr. Cortez is hiding something, or worse. I didn't know if you cared to hear it, but consider this your notice. I'm going back out there to get some answers from the good doctor, and I'm not going to go easy on him. I've let the grass grow under my feet, but I'm surely not going to make the same mistake twice. Wow, okay. So, seems like Felix hasn't gotten back to Randall since our last communication. I don't know why. And Randall is finally doing his job and being like, hey, I found a dead body, something doesn't add up, I'm going to go do something about it. But yeah, this is crazy. So, oh man, my mind is just buzzing with possibilities here. And then this one here is just super weird. So he's saying that, like, oh, the sheriff isn't following Felix's plan anymore. That's super weird. Okay, so either Felix is saying that Randall's going to die or get killed because he's going over there to go check some stuff out, or that Randall isn't following Felix's direction anymore, which is probably the latter. But yeah, no, this is just super, super weird. Alright. On to Sylvia and Jasper. Ooh, there's some stuff in here. This excites me. All right. Ooh. All right. So we have gear, obviously from Jasper here. We have some we have some organs that's going to be going along with our paper dude here. Oh, okay, neat. So yeah, you might remember that you know, Jasper's all about taking a look at the pieces and how they work together. It's kind of alluded that he took apart Manny, his old mentor, abuser, to see how he ticked and how he worked. Jasper also alluded that he kind of also wanted to do that to the police officer. All right, we have, oh dang, I knew it, oh I knew it. Yeah, we have Clark Love, maintenance guy, and obviously that's his butt out there, he did. Oh man, this thing just got so much more exciting. All right, cool, I'm pumped, all right. Dear listening friend, I have been having a lot of fun seeing the correspondence between you and Jasper. He is funnier than I first thought. You should know that everything is going well here. There is a schedule hiccup, but everything is fine now. It was more trouble than it should have been to make all that time up. I'm looking forward to my trip. I have been planning it for a long time now. There are so many beautiful things to see and photograph. Everything is very positive. Thanks for listening. All right, so something's definitely going on with Meg here. Apparently she's going on a trip that was not notified before. Seems very, very sudden. Oh man, this is cool. All right. Listening Friends of America. Travel to do, buy new DSLR, that's going to be a camera, make bed, request a new ID badge. Alright, so Megan definitely is up to no good here. Piece of time assigned? I don't know what that means. Centered from the heart. First to Waterton Lakes, then Teddy Roosevelt, then Payette Yellowstone? Passport, left alone, food, organized travel itinerary, allocate resources, green jacket, yellow backpack, pack, sleeping mat, make bed, brush teeth, wind clock, set time, clean gears, wind clock, set time. Alright, so this tells me that Megan is definitely Jasper, which makes a lot of sense. Jasper's giving us clues how to access Megan's stuff. I'm assuming this is her travel itinerary, that I'm guessing is probably him getting ready to, Jasper getting ready to book it with Sylvia. Wine clock, set time, clean gears, wine clock, set time. I mean, this just screams Jasper. That's so weird. And there's a lot of this really weird stuff. So obviously our clues or some sort of code is in here, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. Okay, so we have our note from Sylvia here. Maybe kind of hard to see from the camera, but it looks like this was shredded. And yeah, so we have some words up here and words on there. I think I'm going to use some Photoshop to put them together here. You know, 1, 2:30 in the next where to go, month, letter, I will come exactly morning by. So probably like I will come exactly 2:30 in the morning. I will tell you where to go 1 month from now. And well, like I said, I'll put that together in a second. All right. So, dear Jasper, how are you holding up? You know, lately I've been thinking a lot about you and your situation, and it still doesn't seem right. You don't belong in that place. There has to be a good reason for what you did. There's something I'm missing in all this, something that will explain everything away. I'm sure of it. Normally I would never try to justify such a thing, but it's different because it's you. I know you, don't I? The more I kept thinking about you, the more restless I felt, and the more I wanted to see you. I drove out to the facility hoping we might get a chance to speak. I didn't expect it to be so far from town or the building to look so old. From what I could see, the grounds were well kept, but the rest of the place was pretty run down. So this is a lot different than what she's mentioned before And even though the handwriting is the same, the language structure is a lot different. Do I have the right? No, this is episode 4. This is the right one. This seems like an older or a different note, you know? Of course they wouldn't let me pass the gates. I had a feeling they wouldn't, but I thought I'd be able to talk to someone at least and explain my reason for being there. The guards were incredibly unhelpful. Eventually one of the staff members approached me, Dr. Cortez. She was about to drive past the gates and must have seen me idling in my car. Okay, so wait. Because in the past they've always alluded that Dr. Cortez is a male, but Sylvia's saying now that it's a female. There's obviously, oh, maybe Megan, maybe that was Megan, maybe. Yeah, Randall said that Dr. Cortez is a he. Maybe that body, oh, I'm so confused. Okay, so that body could be, okay. I still think that's Clark Love's body because of this. And Megan is maybe impostoring Dr. Cortez. Let's keep reading here. She was about to drive past the gates and must have seen me idling in my car. She was nice enough and didn't seem irritated that I was there. She kind of let me know that there were no visiting hours. That struck me as disconcerting because even prisons will allow visitors in most cases, right? I asked her about you and maybe that was a mistake, but she said she wasn't at liberty to discuss her patients. Patients, prisoners. Is there even a difference in that place? I really don't have a firm grasp on what these listening friends' facilities were meant for. It feels more isolating than anything. You must miss being on the outside. Do you think about the shop often? Do you think about our work? About me? I hope so. I hope this isn't all for nothing. Well, I wonder why this was shredded. I wonder why this is way different than her last letter. Someone's impersonating somebody here. Yeah, no, this is, to me, I'm excited. This is actually getting really interesting. Okay, cool. All right, on to Jasper. Hello, dear friend. I have learned recently that the human body may sometimes develop a dysfunctional immune system. An immune system so misguided will recognize healthy parts of the anthropoid body not as integral to the function of the body as a whole organism, but as threatening to the overall survival of the anthropoid system. Doctors who study this kind of thing have yet to determine a discrete cause for this ironic and deadly phenomenon. Fascinating. Still, I would very much like to know what they know to get inside of their heads and better understand such a complicated system. Maybe I could follow through where they fail to put things together. I am interested to know what kind of acronyms they use. Have you noticed how many acronyms doctors use? They are efficient devices acronyms. Alright, so there's a lot of focus on acronyms. Obviously I'm trying to maybe put together some words to create the password or something. You know, a reverse acronym. They pull together separate pieces and describe the movements, direction, process, or purpose of a thing while only using the first letters of its component parts. Sorry for going on about things you might not even be able to comprehend. I get so caught up sometimes that I lose myself. I feel as though it has been ages since I last wrote to you. I have felt very much alone this past month. I have no friends here. I think I would like to be friends with Sheriff Randall, but he is very much aloof when he is here. Those stunning gray eyes of his do not settle on anything or anyone. Okay, so in the past he's talked about how much he doesn't like him. I remember in a previous one he talked about how handsome he was, and the next one about how he didn't like him. And now he's back to being handsome again and attractive again. This is really strange. In fact, I believe the sheriff to be too nosy about my surrogate home. His behavior is not what I would expect to be typical of a sheriff. He has proved to be much more interesting. I do not know what he sees when he sees this place. I would like to know. Perhaps he sees something that I do not. Perhaps what he sees is beautiful. And is that not the wonder of the world? Every human being sees things just a little differently. We all have so much to learn from each other. I am sure you have learned from me. You may be surprised to know that I have learned a lot from this experience of ours. Relationships between bodies work just like any other system, including human bodies. Component parts work together, each part providing a unique function so that the system as a whole can serve a collective purpose. What do you think of is our purpose, friend? Can you see it? It is not always clear until the component parts come together. Sometimes we see it only when the pieces arrive in the correct order from the start. Wheels turn round and around. Every turn brings with it something into view that was once hidden, like the dark side of the moon. But sometimes those hidden things are demons, gnawing at our eyes with their jagged, gnashing teeth. It sometimes gets hard to see the light through all that, between the grotesque sinew and the teeth. The thing that separates the day from the night is the ability to find the light. Shuttered in a windowless room, how would we ever feel anything other than darkness? Alright, so that's our information. That's all we have. I'm going to take some time to figure out some things, and we'll see how all this stuff puts together. From here is where I'll have some solutions. So if you don't want anything spoiled, then just don't watch it. That's what you do. So similar to previous videos, I will have some spoilers from here on out, so if you want to figure it out yourself or you want to experience it yourself, feel free to stop now or start here if you want to check your own answers if you're doing it as well. So here we have Sylvia's letter. I always like to start with Sylvia's kind of codes and clues just because they seem to be a lot easier than Jasper's, and it gives me some motivation and some ideas to kind of tackle Jasper's harder stuff here. But this one here, I don't really feel it's difficult. I mean, obviously we have the piece of paper ripped and we just put it together. So just to make it pretty, I use Photoshop to put it together here. And we see here, I will come exactly 1 month from now, 2:30 in the morning. My next letter will tell you where to go. So this is kind of interesting that this is after the other one, because it would seem like it would make more sense to have this in more chronological order. Here I'm going to come 1 month from now, 2:30 in the morning. My next letter will tell you where to go, and the next letter seemed to be directing this person to go to the crafts window. But in the package, this one was later. So I don't know if there was a delay with this one or if there was maybe something else going on. I'm not quite sure. But that's kind of what I was thinking when I did this. So I just mentioned Sylvia's part in all of this. Again, this was pretty easy. This is pretty solved. Going on to the next one here. So Meg, no clues, nothing in here. Although it seems to be, very interesting. So here's Jasper's stuff and all the other stuff that was kind of given to us. And boy, there's a lot going on here. So, I found out I actually kind of solved part of it in a different way than what I think they're supposed to. Basically, right off the bat, I saw this and I was like, oh, there's this blood stain, or I'm sorry, this dried blood, which obviously means something. So I pulled it out and I realized that, the blood was kind of covering this whole aspect. And I thought that was kind of maybe there to hide this because I'm supposed to be looking at it. And I noticed there was kind of this very clearly circular red spot which matched up exactly with this. So I figured this was kind of part of the puzzle. Now, when I cover this up, I don't know if you can see from this camera here, but basically covers up and we see N-I-A-L. And just by me knowing the website, I know that there was one entry called nail, so I was like, oh, this must be it. And that's how I kind of found out that one. Even though I think later on there is a different way to figure that out. Now with this here and all these things, they're obviously just hinting to a acronym, right? They're hinting at, oh, I need to take a look at different words and trying to find kind of, basically kind of a reverse acronym here. So I was looking a lot at this, doing a lot of things, kind of piecing things together, especially things that were very, very weird or sounded very awkwardly. Didn't make a lot of progress. And so obviously I see, centered, from the heart. So obviously I was looking at this. I don't necessarily see heart, but I see these other organs. And I was like, obviously this has to be something. So I didn't want to cut this out, but I kind of took a mental note here. So I, obviously we have a cavity. It looked like, the front and the back in this one here didn't really have spots for this, so obviously we're kind of focusing on this one. And so I was looking at this and I was like, okay, well, this kind of spells, little sis, like a little sister. That didn't end up being the password. And then I kind of looked at, okay, well, what about the organs from cranial to caudal, from top to bottom? And I took the letters, that didn't mean anything. Then I tried the opposite way, that didn't mean anything. So then, and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, let's say they were being placed in the body, from deep to more from more surface and the other way around. And I eventually just kind of just randomly stumbled upon the password, which is, which is going to be the liver, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, just based on how you place them if you actually cut these out. So that's how I kind of ended up doing it. Being Now, one thing I did kind of notice, I did after this, I kind of took a look at a hint to try to see like how you're supposed to actually do this. And the hint kind of directed my attention to this. And so what I did is I brought up some Google Maps and looked at this, which I'll be bringing up next. So here's another thing I investigated, ended up being a dead end here. I went ahead and scanned his code and got these numbers and letters. I kept this in mind, I kind of looked at this, but it ended up not really pertaining to anything, and I think it's just simply barcode, no meaning behind it. Okay, recording number 2. I actually just figured out something as I was making the last recording. Feel a little stupid now, but here we go. So, yeah, so going off what I was saying before, it kind of directed me to this kind of weird language, first to Waterton Lakes, then Teddy Roosevelt, blah, 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 blah. And so I decided to bring up a map to kind of see maybe where these were. So we know that we're located in Bozeman, Montana. And so, it says first to Waterton Lakes. So I typed in, Waterton Lakes, where on earth is that? Well, it looks like up here in Canada, and that's sort of north. So that tells me that, hey, maybe this is saying I'm supposed to go north, and going off of the gear and the ID, going to the top of the gear, we start off with our N. Now, the next part is what initially confused me. It's like, then Teddy Roosevelt. Well, I know that Teddy Roosevelt, there's lots of monuments, there's lots of natural parks. He did a lot for this, and I was like, what possibly they could be referring to. And actually, while I was recording this video the first time, I was like, dope, I better check out Mount Rushmore, right? And so, yeah, Mount Rushmore, obviously to the east. So if you go to, the east of the gear, that's going to be our A for assignment, right? So we have name, assignment, NA. Next one, Payette, again, over there in the west. And we go over here, that's going to be, the gear is going to point toward the ID, so we have NAL. And then lastly, Yellowstone, which is going to be south of Bozeman. So that goes to our licensed or else, which spells out nail. I think this is how we're supposed to figure out how to direct us to the document, and then the the paper gentleman helps clue us into the password. So before we open up the documents, let's kind of go over our notes here, what we've learned this episode. So we start off with Jasper here. We eventually got Clark Love's ID, has blood on it. And we also learned that Sylvia, what else have we learned? Continues to contradict self in letters. Each one of these letters kind of mentions different things. First she said that she didn't come, then she did come, and the letters are just very, very strange. Are all of her letters real? Planned escape for Jasper. Letter 4 seems out of order, question mark. Seems like it goes before number 3. Letter reads, I will come exactly 1 month from now, 2:30 in the morning. My next letter will tell you where to go. My thoughts are, it's interesting that 2:30 was the time that she wants to escape, as well as Clark Love's dental appointment. But again, we will see what, if that's just random or if that actually means something. And then my next letter will tell you where to go. Is this referring to the craftsroom window from the previous letter? It's just that these letters came to us out of order. Felix knows that the sheriff will be gone. That can mean multiple things. Either he's dead or he's no longer on Felix's team or side. Who knows? We will see. Megan, going on a sudden trip? Question mark. Or is this really just a clue for the document? Clark Love, probably dead, has ID with blood on it, and his ID opens shed to where keys can be found. Is this a possible escape route for Jasper? Did Jasper kill him for the keys, or since it's outside of the fence, more likely, did Sylvia actually kill him, take his ID, and get it to Jasper? Who we will see. Hopefully, those questions will be answered. Randall, the sheriff here, did not hear back from Felix after last documentation, so he's going forth with his investigation, planning on speaking with Dr. Cortez directly about the body and other suspicions. My question is, why isn't the sheriff following proper police, protocol? He's just really kind of asking to get himself killed or knocked off because of all this. So anyway, that's, not too much information, but, looks like we're going in an interesting direction. So opening up the documents with our clues here, first we have the inspector inventory sheet, and then, items descriptions, just like we do other times. And again, in my opinion, this is kind of is here to help us kind of clue us in, which again kind of helped me get to some of these things I mentioned previously. So for first the welcome letter, it's like, oh, my letter, I can't really wait to go on vacation. Someday I will do it. I know every direction I want to go. Um, Again, the kind of I think it's kind of cluing us into, hey, look at the vacation, look at the directions on which I'm going. First Waterton Lakes north, then Teddy Roosevelt east. So I think that's what they're kind of referring to. The language here, I really cannot wait to go on vacation. Someday I will do it, was kind of weird because I was like, oh, well, it sounds like Megan does a lot of traveling. But again, I'm thinking she says I will eventually do my itinerary, which my travel to do, my list of things on here. Patient letter, again, Jasper's letter. Um, not much I feel is there. Wooden gear, again, just kind of alluding to that. Oh yeah, he made this gear. Obviously, this is a laser cutout, but kind of points us to say, hey, the dimensions are exact. This has some importance. Maybe you should use this. Again, I think it's more of a hint than anything. Sylvia, another letter. Looks like it got shredded by some point. Again, kind of cluing us in to say, hey, it got shredded. Maybe you could re-shred it and put it together. I didn't want to necessarily rip it apart, but so I used Photoshop to do it instead. The ID badge. Clark should really take better care of his identification badge. He needs to get the keys to the garden shed. And that's what kind of clued me into maybe scanning the barcode. Because I was like, oh, well, this, allows me to get into the garden shed. Maybe there's some sort of clue there. Ended up being kind of a dead end. I can't imagine that Megan would be totally blind to the blood splatter on there. But again, just I'm going to keep in mind that, hey, this um, opens up the garden shed to get to the keys, you know. Atomical folding man, paper organs. Again, these are kind of hints to how to do it. I would help the little man put his organs back inside, but I don't know the correct order. Besides, I don't think that is for me to do. Hinting, hey, it's for us. Take a look at the order. Again, something that looking back, I probably should have realized, but it took me way too long to figure that out. And then to-do list, so many things to do before I go, so many things. And then again, if you open up the other PDF, again, our classic gibberish that I'm sure in the future will mean something. We'll put all these together in order to get some sort of message. So I guess that kind of brings us to the end of episode 4. There's 2 episodes left, 5 and 6, and I hope that these will be just as exciting and help kind of conclude the story to kind of explain what's exactly going on. Is Megan impersonating as the doctor? Was that just a random misunderstanding from Sylvia? Is who's playing who's not real? What's actually going on with these Cobra experiments? Those were kind of mentioned at the beginning, and I haven't heard anything since then. But is Clark Love dead? Is that really Cortez? Who knows? But I'm sure the future episodes will help explain and help kind of solidify this story. Thank you for watching, and feel free to get the next one when your package comes on in.